Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Salutation to the blessed one who have attained arahantaship or the sainthood and fully enlightened one. Dear devotees, Dhamma friends, first of all, I would like to wish all of you a happy, peaceful, and successful. And my sincere thanks goes to the BODHI TV channel for giving me the opportunity to deliver this Dhamma talk, and also that doing the tremendous service to propagate the Buddhism, not only in Nepal, but also in all over the world. So the topic of my Dhamma talk is Saddha. The Saddha is the Pali term, and its Sanskrit equivalent is Shraddha. Saddha or Shraddha is translated into English as faith, confidence, conviction, belief, trust, etc. Shraddha is used not only in Buddhism, but also in Hinduism and other religions also. But according to the Buddhist context, I would like to use the term confidence, which seems to me that it conveys the meaning of the Saddha well. So according to Buddhism, one is said to have confidence when that person believes in enlightenment of the perfect one or the Buddha. And if he believes in three jewels or triple gem, the Buddha, the enlightened one, the Dhamma, the teachings of the Buddha or the discourses of the Buddha, and the Sangha, the monastic community of the disciples of the Buddha. And it's also regarded confidence one realizes or tries to attempt the teachings of the Buddha, basically the main principles of the Buddha, like the law of deeds or karma, and the doctrine of dependent origination or paticcasamuppada or pratityasamutpada, or the doctrine of Eight Noble Path or the Aryastangika Marga, and attempting to practice the teachings of the Buddha. And when we consider about the taking refuge in the Buddha, it does not mean to surrender certain kind of the higher authority or certain kind of the invisible power, because Buddha is not a god and Buddhism is not the theistic religion. So when we mean to take the refuge in the Buddha, so it means to recall the supreme qualities of the Buddha. So according to Buddhism, so this describes the Buddha possesses 9 supreme qualities. And taking refuge in the Buddha means recalling these supreme 9 qualities of the Buddha and also making effort to develop these supreme 9 qualities as virtues within oneself. So that is called the real taking refuge in the Buddha. And when we say that taking refuge in the Dharma, so that means also that recalling the supreme qualities of the Dharma. In Buddhism, it is mentioned that the Dharma possesses, or Dharma consists of 6 supreme qualities. And recalling these 6 supreme qualities of the Dharma and making efforts to practice the teachings of the Buddha is called the taking refuge in the Dharma. And when we say that taking refuge in Sangha is not also concerned in personality, it also means to recall the supreme qualities of the Sangha and making effort to develop the supreme qualities of the Sangha as virtues within oneself. And this believing is rooted in reasoning and understanding. When you mention that confidence, so it should be rooted in reasoning and understand. In some places of the Buddhism, in Buddhist sutras, for example, we can mention here that Patika Sutta of the Digha Nikaya. So Buddha uses the term pasada also instead of the saddha to give meaning confidence. So the saddha seems to be related with the term pasada. That means delightful status, or if not that, pleasant status. And that when we refer to that unwavering confidence, so we use the term avicca pasada also. That means unshakable confidence and unwaverable confidence. So that status could be attained and reaching the first or initial stage of the holiness that is called the Sotapatti, or stream entry. And in this context, the saddha or the confidence also could be explained as the pleasant status of the mind in performing any kind of the wholesome deeds or meritorious deeds. And when we mention about the meritorious deeds or wholesome deeds, basically we can mention 3 types of wholesome deeds. Though there are 10 types of wholesome deeds also in the Buddhism. So firstly, we can mention that the dana, the generosity. So it means giving something we possess for the benefit of others without any expectation and without any attachment. So that is called the real abandoning and the real charity or the generosity. And second wholesome deed could be mentioned as sila or the morality. So it means maintaining the wholesome conduct or maintaining the moral behavior, refraining from evil deeds or bad deeds. Basically, we can mention that evil deeds as 5 in Buddhism. The first one is killing or harming others. The second one is stealing. And third one is unlawful intercourse or sexual behavior. And fourth one is lying. And fifth one is taking any kind of intoxicants. So refraining from this kind of evil deeds and maintaining that moral behavior is called the morality of the sila. And third type of the wholesome deed could be mentioned as the bhavana, or this is the mental development and mental culture and practicing meditations. So practicing meditations leads to the calmness and tranquility of the mind. So when we perform this kind of wholesome deeds, so saddha comes at first, or the confidence should be there. Without confidence, we cannot perform any kind of wholesome deeds. So therefore, in the context of the present state of the mind, status of the mind in performing the wholesome deeds, so it gives arising the willingness to perform such kind of wholesome deeds. And according to some circumstances, and also that the persons and characters in whom the confidence arises, we can divide the confidence in some categories. So according to some perspectives of the confidence and also the aspects of confidence, mainly we can mention two types of confidence. The first one could be mentioned as purifying confidence or samprasadana lakkana saddha. So it possesses the nature of purifying the mind. And in the Attasalini, which is the commentary for Dhammasangani, refers to these two types of the aspect of confidence. The first one is being, as I mentioned earlier, samprasadana lakkana saddha, or the purifying confidence. The Attasalini refers to a beautiful simile to describe this type of confidence. And the story of the universal king. The universal king is said to have possessed a kind of gem which causes to purify the water. So that is called a water purifying gem or Udaka Prasada Manikya. Once the universal king crosses the small stream with his army, and his army polluted the water, but the universal king wants to drink some water, but he could not find anywhere from the water. So his gem, or that water purifying gem, is thrown into the polluted water. As a result of the throwing the polluted water in the gem into the polluted water, it causes the mud, sand, and water weeds to subside and become the water clear, transparent, and undisturbed. In the same way, when the confidence or the saddha arises in one's mind, all kind of defilements are cleared. The mind becomes clean, alert, active, and calm. So that kind of saddha or confidence is called samprasadana lakkana saddha. And another aspect of the confidence is aspiring. The aspiring characteristics is all there in confidence. And it is also explained in the Attasalini with beautiful simile. So according to that simile, we can mention here a crowd of people, they're standing on both sides of the river, full of harmful creatures like the crocodiles, monsters, sharks, ogres, is afraid to cross over the river. And at that time, a brave person, a hero, comes to that place, and that he became able manage these harmful or dangerous creatures with his sword, and he repelled all kind of these dangerous creatures. And he leads the crowd to cross over the river also. So that kind of, when that the confidence of that kind arises in one's mind, any kind of hindrances or obstacles in performing the wholesome deeds could be repelled or discarded. So that kind of saddha or the confidence is called sampraskandana lakkana saddha. And the third type of the saddha is called okkapana saddha. So that is unshakable confidence, or that unwavering confidence. As I mentioned earlier, this type of unshakable confidence could be attained and reaching the first stage of the holiness, or that is called the sotapatti, or stream entry. And that kind of confidence is stable, and that kind of confidence could not be shaked by any kind of force. And the other type of the confidence is called agamana saddha, so which arises in mind of the bodhisattva. A bodhisattva is a being whose mind is focused to the enlightenment, who aspires to become a Buddha. So he has to fulfill the many kind of the perfections, the paramitas, in many births. So therefore, continuing his fulfilling the perfection, such kind of confidence is required. So therefore, this argument saddha is generated in the mind of the bodhisattva. And another type of the saddha is called that adhigama saddha, or the confidence, which is generated in the mind of the arahantas or the sainthood who have attained sainthood, so who have eradicated all kind of defilements. So this type of the confidence, or the adhigama saddha, is totally free of attachment, because the arahantas have eradicated all kind of defilements. And also we can mention here that basically the two types of confidence and saddha. So first one is could mention here the amulika saddha. So that is the baseless, rootless saddha and irrational saddha and unwise saddha. So this could not be regarded as the real saddha or the real confidence. And second type of the confidence could be regarded as the akaravati saddha. So confidence based on one's experience and reasoning. So this could be regarded or considered as the real confidence or the saddha. And to explain these two types of the saddha, we can present the two types of the stories which took place in the time of the Buddha. So in the time of the Buddha, there was a monk named Vakkali, so who was fully enamored, overwhelmed with the noble physical appearance of the Buddha, because the Buddha's body was perfect with 32 superhuman, great human characteristics. So therefore, this monk, Vakkali, was overwhelmed by this attractive and the beautiful physical appearance of the Buddha. And when that he was overwhelmed in this way, he neglected to perform any kind of religious duties, including meditation. So at that point, Buddha admonished the monk, stating that, what is the use of gazing on my foul body? My body is also subject to decay. So if you really want to respect me, you have to follow my teachings and you have to practice my teaching. So in that case, Buddha mentioned that yo dhammam passati, somam passati. Whosoever sees the teachings of the Buddha can see the Buddha. And to describe another type of the saddha, which is mentioned as akaravati saddha or the akaravati confidence, we can present here another story which also was taken place in the time of the Buddha. In the time of the Buddha, so after announcement of his impending passing away, or the parinibbana, before some months, most of the monks, Buddhist monks, visited the Buddha and paid their last respect to him. But there is a particular monk named Dhammarama. He did not do so. Therefore, this incident was reported to the Buddha, and the Buddha called for this venerable Dhammarama and questioned him about it. Then Venerable Dhammarama replied Buddha, mentioning that as a means of paying his last respect, he wanted to do the meditation as hard as possible to attain the sainthood or to become an arahanta before the passing away of the Buddha. And at this, Buddha praised the intention of this monk, and also he proclaimed, anyone who should respect, who likes to respect the Buddha, should follow the example of this monk. So therefore, that akaravati saddha could be regarded the real saddha, the confidence. And in many places, the saddha is also regarded as the forerunner to perform any kind of wholesome deeds. In Atthasali itself describes the confidence of saddha as a forerunner. And in the Kasi Bharadwaja Sutra, in the Anguttara Nikaya, it is mentioned that the confidence as the seed of all kinds of wholesomeness, that is called saddha bijam. Saddha bijam means the seed for all the wholesomeness. When the saddha or the confidence arises in the mind, the willingness to perform the wholesome deeds also arise. So therefore, that saddha is regarded as the forerunner to perform such kind of wholesome deeds. And in many places, the saddha is described and explained. So the saddha or the confidence is described as one of the five spiritual faculties, being other four faculties, the virya, the energy, sati, the mindfulness, samadhi, the concentration, and panya, the wisdom. And among these five spiritual faculties, the saddha, the confidence, comes at first place. Saddha of the confidence leads to the energy or the virya, and energy leads to the mindfulness or the sati, and mindfulness or the sati leads to the concentration of the samadhi, and the concentration of the samadhi leads to the panya. And when we consider about the status of these five spiritual faculties, so it should be considered as they should be in the status of harmony with each other. So the progressive of these five spiritual faculties depend on the progressive of a person. This should be in nature of the balance, especially in the period of the confidence or saddha and the panya or wisdom, and the period of energy or virya and the panya, energy, and also that other one is the mind, samadhi, concentration, and the panya or the mindfulness or the sati is remain as balancing and beneficial spiritual faculty to all other four faculties. And a person or a disciple with the strong faith and weak panya or weak wisdom may remain in blind faith with the poor progress. And a person with the strong wisdom and that weak confidence also may become the too rational and cunning. So therefore, the panya and the saddha, or the wisdom and confidence, should balance each other. And when that these five spiritual faculties are developed in unshakable status, so it becomes some kind of spiritual power or strong, which is strong enough to control any kind of opposite factors. The saddha or the confidence is also that described as one of the streams of merit or punyadhara, and that when you consider about the confidence or saddha, so it is could not be regarded as facet of the bhakti or devotion. It is somewhat different from the devotion, because in devotion there is no place for questioning and investigation, but the confidence should be developed with investigation. In the Vimamsaka Sutra of the Majjhima Nikaya, Buddha mentions the disciples should investigate even the supreme qualities of the Buddha. And in Kalam Sutra also that Buddha mentions when he was asked the question about what kind of spiritual teachings should be believed, then the Buddha answers, so certain kind of the spiritual belief should not be believed just on that hearing for hearsays and also that the rumors and because of the tradition, as not because of that it accords with one scripture and not because of inference and not because of supposition and not because the speaker seems to be a good person and not because of the speaker is the person who is respected by you. If you know by yourself any kind of spiritual teaching is immoral and blameful and also that censured by voice, and when undertaken or followed, that kind of teachings so conducive to ruin and also that unhappiness, and which is not beneficial for one's and all others, oneself and others, such kind of spiritual teachings should be rejected. So if you know yourself, the certain kind of spiritual teachings which is moral and also that blameless, praised by wise, and when undertaken and practiced, conducive to well-being and happiness, and which is beneficial for both parts, one's own and others, such kind of spiritual teachings should be accepted. So in this sutta, we can find that great freedom of thinking. So the Buddha also encouraged his disciples to investigate, to question, and also that to explore the truth in order to develop the confidence based on reason and one's own experience. So therefore that we should also try to develop such kind of the reasonable and rational confidence, which could be regarded here, mentioned as akara vati saddha, in our spiritual goal to attain the liberation from and deliverance from all sufferings. So that is what we have to do to attain the sainthood and to attain the deliverance from all kinds of suffering. So with this word, I would like to conclude my Dhamma talk, and I wish may all the living beings be happy and peaceful. Bhavatu Sabba Mangala.